Hello and welcome to another update video about AVAX. AVAX is back to pumping today while many cryptos are in profit-taking mode. Bitcoin's still holding on a fairly high level, but a few selected altcoins seem to be back to pumping, including AVAX. So let's take a look here at the AVAX chart. First of all, on the larger time frame, we can see two structures. They are not new, but I've added a subwave structure for the C wave to the upside. Now with the latest move up, I'm considering this here a 5-wave move to the upside from the 2023 low, which means that in any pullback, we can consider this a wave 2 and then possibly a 3rd wave to the upside, 4, 5, and so on. It could also be, but that's nothing new, we talked about that, a B wave pullback. Okay, so if it's a B wave or a wave 2 that's coming down there in the next larger pullback, doesn't really change anything with regards to relevant support levels and so on. The B wave and the wave 2 have very similar support levels. So we are going to talk about that in a minute. But overall, in the overall white structure, we are, I believe, close to completing a 5-wave pattern to the upside. Could then look at, if in any pullback, we have to watch if AVAX can hold a higher low. So once it is topped here, I will add a support region and we can then look at relevant Fibonacci levels for a potential reversal and then check the 3rd wave rally next, okay? Trade for the 3rd wave rally if AVAX can hold a higher low. We are already in a situation in which this move up could also turn into a strange 3-wave structure. So it really determines on, the next pullback really determines what AVAX is going to do for the remainder of 2024. Because if the next pullback doesn't form a higher low, I mean, guess what? We are back to bear market. That sounds very straightforward, very much like common sense. Okay, if we take out support, we're back into the bear market. Yeah, but the main factor here that we need to consider is that this move up here has now reached a magnitude that the next pullback would really be a more substantial one, most likely. And the test of the same will really determine what AVAX is going to do for the remainder of 2024. It's different to the small pullback we had here. This was only a subwave, like this, in this count, an A wave in the yellow count, or in the white count, it would be a small wave 4 pullback. But the next one, this could be a complete 5-wave cycle now, maybe a little higher. And then a pullback will determine how AVAX is going to behave for the remainder of the bull market. So that means in the yellow count, we can easily top in 3 waves here still and break down completely. But let's talk about the bullish scenario a little bit, because currently the trend is up. But we haven't topped yet, but it's potentially a really interesting setup if we get that pullback. So let's zoom in a little bit. Let's talk about here the daily time frame and the relevant structures. So I can, in the yellow count this as a potential A wave, and the B wave has already started, but we're forming an A overshooting B wave now, and then the C wave down could send us down lower. That's one possible interpretation. But with the move to the upside, I start to prefer the white count, but it really depends on the structure of the pullback and which levels will be reached. So we are going to, first of all, need to see a local top signal. We're far away from that. There is no top signal at this stage. And then as soon as we have a top signal, we can add a support zone. It's too early for that. So what I wanted to do is for the bullish scenario, if we consider that we had here, and it's difficult to count, but we can count it potentially as a leading diagonal, a small 1, 2, then a 3-wave move in wave 3, and I had a 4 and a 5. So that would be a 5-wave move. I'll take that off because I want to keep the chart clean. In terms of targets, target for this wave 5 of 1, we can take the length of this move, which would be waves 1 to 3, go to the low of the wave 4, and a potential projection or target range is between $53 and $82. Now I can take that off the chart again because the 82 level is anyway the next major resistance level, but it tells you a lot about, okay, there is some confluence there of Fibonacci levels. So I think there is now a good chance that it's going to get to 82 next. And then if we break above 82, then the next structural resistance level is around 104. And then obviously up there, it's the all-time high at 150. But what I would prefer before breaking above 82, and specifically before breaking above 104, 105, is this wave 2 pullback. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't get it. At the moment, there is no sign of a pullback. I can only tell you what I think is the most, let's say, the ideal scenario. Yeah? At the moment, what would be a first indication of such a pullback? Well, the earliest indication would be a break below the last swing low here at $40. Better would be a break below that 35.30 level. These two swing lows from February and early March. Okay. And as I said, as soon as we take the first swing low out, I'm going to add a support zone for the corrective pullback, which would most likely be an ABC structure. So in the white count, we're dealing with an ABC structure in the pullback. And the structure of that move down will also probably tell us a lot about, okay, are we in the yellow count or the white count? Because in the white count, we're going to see a 3-wave pullback. Whereas in the yellow count, it might be a 5-wave move down in this C wave. But that's not so important. The support regions would be the same, standard support. So yeah, that's what I'm watching for on the AVAX chart. I mean, in terms of long-term targets, these are only mathematical projections. This is nothing that you can really rely on. All I can say is, okay, the best possible case, this is an ABC structure, and the C wave to the upside and the white count, they usually reach the 100% extension level. Yeah, there's no guarantee, but they often do. And that's at $507. Now, just below that, but the Fibonacci level below that is the 78.6 extension. That's at $213. That might sound a little bit more realistic. And it's also a reasonable target for a C wave. It really depends on how the subwave structures develop. I mean, at the moment, the trend is up against that last swing low I shared with you. It just remains a chart that needs constant monitoring and babysitting. This is not a simple chart, not a straightforward chart, and also not a clear chart. I think probabilities between yellow and white are fairly balanced, and I just don't trust this chart. But at the moment, the trend is clearly up. And, I gave you that first indication that we need to, the first level that we need to see broken to indicate that the top is in. Well, that's holding at the moment. We're pushing higher. The next resistance now, the next support, and the overall targets, or let's say mathematical projections, if conditions remain positive here. But there's never a guarantee that we get there. I mean, when Bitcoin ends the bull market, then the altcoins will likely top, maybe with 1 or 2 weeks difference, regardless of where they are in the cycle, right? The Elliott wave cycles, especially for altcoins, the long-term ones, don't see them as predictive. They can only help to determine targets on the lower time frames, and really altcoins are dangerous and should really only be traded with setups, swing trade setups, stop losses, or if not, then obviously you have to have a different strategy. But they are rather for swing trades, and many of the altcoin charts are just not clearly long-term bullish, right? I mean, in this bullish market, they tend to follow bullish structures, which makes sense, but it's worth, being picky. But yeah, all I'm saying is, if we get that next pullback, there might be a really decent setup for a 1-2, and the wave 2 pullback could offer an opportunity for a third wave rally to the upside. That's my update about AVAX. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.